Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to the Rome Show. It's your boy Go Room TV, the host and the producer of the Worldwide Podcast, the Rome Show Podcast. I got a special guest that's about to. Hey, what's up, bro?
Yo, I was good.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm excellent, brother.
I really appreciate you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah. No doubt, no doubt. You know, I forgot that you're on the East Coast and I'm in Central. I'm in Dallas.
Oh, that's what it is. All right.
When you said the time, I was like, that was my bad.
It's all good. So you on tour still?
Yeah. Next stop is South Carolina, but I actually had some other stuff in between. I had a gig last week here in Dallas that was kind of local, and then I got some other business ventures. But yeah, Bill and I do about maybe one and a half, two shows a month, but he's going all the time. So I jump in on some of the big cities like New York, or we'll go to DC, we'll go to Vegas, whatever. Like when the big shows come, he called the big dog out so we can get busy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So before you got into like working up with Bill Bellamy and all that, like how'd you get started?
Oh man. So I was just getting out of high school. So I came, I'm from New York City. I'm from Harlem. And then I went to South Carolina for like 3 years and finished high school living with my aunt. Things were a little crazy in New York. So once I graduated, I came back to the city, was working at a law firm, and there were some people who worked there. They were like, yo, you funny, you might want to try to do. So I went on a couple of auditions and it went really well. So I was like, maybe I'm funny. So I went and did a amateur night, and it just took off from there. Like so many people from my job thought I was funny. Even to this day, they had like you had to bring like 3 paying customers. I brought like 90 something people. So many people thought I was funny, and it went really well that night, surprisingly. So from there, I just kept doing it, and went from that. Then like a year later, I was on Def Jam, which was crazy, and then Apollo Comedy Hour. Then I started doing warm-ups for Steve Harvey at the Apollo, and then that turned into actually being the host of the Apollo. Then I did everything from Chappelle's show, comedy specials, and all that other stuff, touring national radio. So yeah, it's been pretty busy from the beginning, like college tours and everything. But that's when I started, 19 years old.
Super fire, bro. You a legend, bro.
Thank you. People used to say that, and I used to be like, nah. I'll be like, yo, that's what's up. I'll be like the Wu-Tang, like, yo, that's what's up. I appreciate you, bro.
For real. I mean, how does it feel to be like a part of all that? That's legendary stuff.
Sometimes I didn't think much about it, but now the older I get, or at least, now that I have children and I meet people like yourself who really are into the arts and everything like that, my place in it, like, it's funny, people bring up stuff, especially in comedy. You got Kevin Hart here. Anybody you name in comedy, I've got a story. Black, white, Asian, Indian, whatever, I'm connected to it in some type of fashion. So I'm like, yeah, I was getting busy, and I still do to this day. You know what I mean? If you see my show, but some people, they know me from radio, or they see me host and stuff. They never really see me live on stage. That's a whole nother element. So yeah, so I do definitely, I appreciate all the accolades, and I'll be like, okay, I was that guy. I am that guy. Yeah, so it's cool.
For real. I mean, how do you balance like all that stuff, like hosting, doing radio and comedy, the touring? How do you balance everything?
Once you're in the thick of it, as you know, like once you get something going, it's like being excited to play. If you play sports, or if you do a podcast, or if you're one of those kids who love to go to school and take tests and do quick, if you like school, like it's a thirst that you can't, it doesn't make you tired. You know what I mean? So I can get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, do a radio show, get dressed, get on a plane, and then go do a show that night, because it's just the adrenaline of being in an element that you're really good at, and you're excited and you're happy. So it was really easy over the years. The thing that's different now, I did radio so long, and now being back on tour with people like Bill, I had to catch up, because they was out at night, and after we perform, we'd be at a little spot, and I'd be like, I was ready to go home. I was like, I'm tired, bro, because I had not been on the road like that. But now, we goes places, we'd be like, all right, I'll be up early in the morning, or if we get in late, I'm just ready. So now, I got my legs back under me as comedy is concerned. So yeah, definitely. but I loved it.
Super, yeah, super fire, bro. You independent or you signed to like a company or something like that?
No, so right now, and I tell people this, and I got a new course out that's doing really well. And it's called Make Money Being Funny, and it's really, I'm helping comics be funny, but I'm really teaching them how to navigate, because everybody sees Kevin Hart, everybody sees Bill Bellamy, and they think like, oh, that's what I want to do, and that's great. But it's also other money you could make being a social media celebrity, or just doing other things that can kind of make a career out of it, kind of like what I've done. So, but yeah, it it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's crazy a little bit. I know I jump off topic sometimes, but yeah, it's just actually fun to do all of these different things. But what I try to tell people all the time is like, you got to be grounded, and you just kind of have to just kind of focus on the little things, which will turn into the big things later on.
Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Like you were Bill Bellamy, you know what I'm saying? Y'all doing shows together. You be having a crowd, the whole crowd be out their seats. How's that feel?
Nah, so the funny thing is, and I'm sure you've gone to shows before,
Yeah.
where like the opening act or even the headliner, they don't live up to, like, you be like, all right, I like them on that movie, or I like her on that show, but they not really like that when they on stage. But with us, it's like bang bang. It's like you getting like like a really good show, because I'm a headliner in my own right. Before I got into radio, I was headlining around the country, and so what I tell people all the time is like, when you come to see me and Bill Bellamy, who has also turned himself into a real comedy giant. He's really good on stage. He's come a long way, because when we were younger, he got taken and put into TV and movies. He wasn't really doing comedy. It's like working out. You got to have those reps. But now he's open enough and brave enough to bring someone like me, because most comics don't want somebody like me on perform. They're like, nah, I'm good. But he does it, and so I'm proud of him in that respect, and I have so much respect and love for that dude, because he didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And Samore is another person who's brave enough to do some of that, and no disrespect to nobody else, because I understand, like, as a headliner, you don't want somebody who can possibly steal the show, and so that's what I present when I'm featuring. So yeah, but it's all good. It works out. But it's a really good show, because it's a balance. We have similar styles as far as, like, we like to talk about relationships and all kinds of stuff. So people love this show. It's one of the best shows in America right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, and when I was watching y'all perform, it was good to see like both of y'all, everything was like leveled out, like no competition. It was all good energy.
Yeah, it's all love, and that's probably why, you know how it is. Like, it's like I always like equate everything to sports. Like, I have to do sports analogies all the time. It's like playing with that one dude. Like, he gonna score 25. I might have 22. One day I might have 28. He got 24. Whatever. But like, the game is always like, yo, I know he's on the wing. He know I'm right there. I'm always gonna come with the good stuff. It's always that high energy, high level. He don't have to worry about his audience being ready, because I get him there,
Yeah,
and I come straight out the gut. Boom. You know what I mean? I don't waste no time.
yeah. You had me dying when you came out, and you said, "Damn, nobody don't clap no more."
And it's funny, because New York has got, even though we up in Nyack, it's still a lot of people from the city. It's mostly everybody from the city, especially our folks, migrated that way. So we got this little New York attitude, like, yo, who's this dude? Because when I was on TV back in the day, I had hair. People didn't recognize me, so they'd be like, who's that? So I was like, yo, let me show you these people who I is. And I was like, y'all can't clap. Everywhere else I go, they at least give me that. They be like, okay, even if it's like, they was looking at me like, where's Bill at? I was like, yeah, I'm about to show you. I'm about to show you where he at. So yeah, it was all good. It made for a funny joke.
Yeah, that was hilarious. If you could share, what's like one thing that you learned from Bill, like as far as like motivational to keep you going, something like that.
Honestly, and that's funny you say that. The one thing I learned from that dude, he's got, and you're supposed to have a healthy ego. His is not such that, it's like, rough around the edge. He really believes in himself. Like, every artist should, and I didn't have that early on in my career. It actually took me all of this time to kind of start really walking and stepping into it, because I always wanted to be humble, or just wanted to be that dude that just kind of floated under the radar. Now, I don't go around screaming I'm the best or whatever. I do it when I'm on stage, and when people say you a legend, or yo, you was the best, I accept it. I don't never shy away from it anymore. Before, I was like, nah, them dudes over there, they be doing it. Nah, I get it done. Like, and so that's one thing I learned from him, is like, step into your purpose, step into who you really are as a comedian, as a person, and believe in yourself. He really believes in himself, and it's actually rubbed off on me to where I'm doing so many more things now, and knowing that I'm gonna be even greater than I can ever be before the last time. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's one thing I definitely learned from Bill.
Yeah, that mindset will get you far.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's a couple things that you haven't did with your brain that you want to do?
So, like I said, we got the new course out. So that's one thing that's different. That there's a couple of comics. My boy who just passed away, David Arnold, who's a great comic. He's been for years teaching comedy in Los Angeles, to raise another one in Philadelphia. And what I was thinking over the course of COVID, because there were some things, some hardships that fell upon myself, and I was just thinking of different ways I can recreate myself. And one of the things I wanted to do was help people that are in my position 10, 20 years ago, because I've been in the game 30 years now. It's like, yo, do they know about this? Or do they know that they shouldn't do that? Do they know that this is available, and this is how you can get to a career much like mine, that I've never been out of the game? So that was one of the things I did, to redirect. I wanted to create that. So I have that. I wrote a couple of programs, some movies, some TV shows. Those things I never did. I just relied on my talent. So, when the pandemic came and there was nothing, I was like, oh, let me get to writing, let me get to this, and discovering that I'm really more talented and gifted than I even gave myself credit for.
Right. You feel like the pandemic kind of made you be like more creative?
It forced me to be creative. It stripped everything, because, like, just imagine you getting money from, and I started when I was 19. I was getting money from the time I was maybe 21. You know what I mean? And I was making little money before that, but then, I'm talking about like six figures and up from 21 until the time I'm 48. And then all of a sudden, the radio station's like, nah, we're not gonna renew your contract. And then I'm like, all right, normally if that happened, I'm like, I'll get on the road and make some money. But then it was like, yo, we in a pandemic, you can't go outside. Ain't no clubs open. It was nothing, bro. So I had to live off the savings, and with my pops just passing not too long before the pandemic, putting him in memory care for Alzheimer's dementia for 4 years took a lot out of the budget too. So it was just like, I don't want to get too religious, and people, but God was like, yo, I'm gonna put you through the toughest time you too comfortable. You just making it, and there's much more for you out there. And now I'm discovering it all over again. So I feel like I'm 19 all over, kind of making my way, but it's exciting.
Sorry to hear that about your pops too.
No, thank you. Yeah, you know what? And life is funny like that. People lose people all the time. We won't be here at some point, and you really try to put it in perspective that, I laugh more when I think about him than being sad and missing him. Some of the funny things he did. Like one time my cousin called me. He was like, yo, your pops got hit by a car today, right? My pops was a big dude. So I was like, yo, he at the hospital? What hospital he at? He's like, nah, he went home, right? So I called my pops. He eating a sandwich. I was like, yo, pops, you got hit by a car today? He was like, oh, yeah. I was like, so it's things like that I remember about my father, and the good times we had, as opposed to him getting older, not being himself, and missing him. I do miss him, but at the same time, I get more joy out of remembering how we were as friends, coming up, he and I, and the relationship we had before he passed. So
yeah. What's a few things that you do to handle challenging times?
So, that, honestly, so, everybody talks about mental health and stuff like that. So I have a therapist, and I found her in the most strangest way. And I suggest everyone, because even for African Americans, sometimes it's taboo. But I'm telling you, the lady who is working with me, her and her husband became like family to me and stuff like that. And I think I got really lucky in that respect too. But the thing that helps me, because I've gone through some difficult situations, going to court with, ex-partner about child support and all this other stuff, which, like, I don't shed any negative light on them. It's just a bad situation. And I felt like a hypocrite because I used to think that was beneath me.
Mm-hmm.
When you're making money and you're doing well, you don't see all of the holes and all of the people plotting and all this other stuff. You don't see, you think you're respected and important, but when you have nothing, then you see where everybody's at, and these governments, and I'm not even going into our black women, I'm talking about the state institutions, they actually encourage that turmoil. So that was a big deal, big thing I had to deal with, the fear of not being around my children and not being able to do this thing. So the thing that calms me down is just the faith that, you are who you are. You are great. You could be great again. This is not the end for you. This is not over. And a lot of people in the business, I'll shout out a few people, like, when Kevin Hart was coming up, I was big bro. You know what I'm saying? And Bill Burr and all these other guys, they were always checking in and just making sure I was good. So it was part of that too. Is like, these guys are busy. They every day, Tiffany Haddish, but they'll call and make sure I'm good. So that just let me know I'm a good dude, and I'll get back to where I need to be. But I'll be even better when I get there. So that's one of the things that I would love for some men. And for some guys, I really worry, because if they're not getting that help or talking to somebody and they don't have, see, for me, I'm Rudy Rush. Somebody can call me tomorrow with a TV show. Somebody can call me tomorrow with a gig that I can deliver because I'm good on stage. But everyone doesn't have the opportunity. So I take that part too and be like, I don't take this for granted. I'm very lucky. So that was one of the things that brought me through as well, like knowing the potential that I have as a person. But everybody got to tap into that.
Right. Big blessing, man. Big legend, Rudy Rush. I really appreciate you for coming on the podcast. Before we wrap it up, I like to ask my guests like a motivational question. What's some advice you could give to somebody who wants to become a brand or a comedian or wants to start a business or something like that?
Oh, well, the first thing you need to do is get my course. My link is in my bio. Make money being funny. But no, if you really wanted to build your brand, be a comedian, especially, there's ways to go about it. But, you got to be a little brave and step out there. Look in your city, wherever you live at, for open mics, or if there's a job function and they having karaoke night, volunteer to host it. Do something like that to just get yourself out there, to give yourself a feeling of, hey, this is what I like to do. I always envision myself. So in building brands, you got to be out there touching people. If you notice, that's how we kind of got on this interview now. I came out to the audience just because, I could be in the back chilling in the green room, getting something to eat or whatever. But I was like, these people laughed at me. They really don't know me. They just meeting me for the first time. So let me go out. So now I'm on your podcast. A couple of other people have approached me. This one young lady had an eyeglass line. She's designing some eyewear for me. Another partner that I had that was, he was actually a stylist for me years ago. He's doing major things now. Him and his family just happened to be in the audience. So we reconnected. So it's just, always, do something outside of the box that you're not accustomed to doing. If you're not a people person, try to make yourself a people person every once in a while. You'd be surprised how far it can get you.
Right. Good advice. Well, once again, I really appreciate you for doing this, bro.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Much success to you, bro. I like the setup and everything. Got the microphone.
Appreciate it.
Keep you on the radar, dog. Good luck to you.
All right, bro. Have a good day.
You too.
All right.